Hello and welcome to another episode of Disney Movie Investigation. If this is your first time watching, welcome to the show. In each episode, we take a look at a movie that is featured on Disney+. On this episode, we are going back to the 80s as we take a look at Splash, starring Tom Hanks and Daryl Hannah. And if you are enjoying these episodes, I do ask that you please hit that subscribe button. That way you'll be notified with each new episode. Now, sit back and enjoy this episode of Disney Movie Investigation. Like I said, today we are covering Splash. This movie was released on March 19th, 1984. It was directed by Ron Howard. The screenplay was written by Babaloo Mandel, Lowell Gantz, and Bruce J. Friedman. The production company was Touchstone Films, and it was distributed by Buena Vista Distribution. The budget for this movie was $11 million, and it did a box office return of $69.8 million. So let's take a look at the production. So the film was originally supposed to be set up by United Artists, but Brian Grazer would decide to take the film elsewhere because he was unhappy with the deal that they were offering. Several studios would be pitched the movie, but all of them had turned it down. The only exception was Walt Disney Studios, and Ron Miller, who was the Disney CEO at the time, agreed to make the film. Grazer would say that the secret of the pitch, which would lead Disney to making the film, was changing the story from originally being a mermaid adjusting to life in New York to being pitched as an ordinary man in New York who meets a mermaid. So it's all about the pitch. So initially the studio was worried about competing with another mermaid movie that Warner Brothers was developing, starring Warren Beatty, but that project ultimately fell through. Director Ron Howard was approached, and he would actually turn down directing Footloose and Mr. Mom to direct Splash because he believed in it so much. Other actors that were considered for the lead role included Chevy Chase, Bill Murray, Dudley Moore, and John Travolta. So for the actresses that were approached for the mermaid role, these included actresses P.J. Soles, Tatum O'Neal, Michelle Pfeiffer, Juliette Louis-Dreyfus, Melanie Griffith, Diane Lane, Kathleen Turner, and Sharon Stone, who had all turned down the role. Filming would ultimately occur between March 1st and June 30th of 1983 in LA, New York, and Disney would film scenes in their own private island known as Castaway Cay. The mermaid tail that Daryl Hannah ends up wearing was created by Robert Short, and it was fully functional. It did prove, however, difficult to remove, so Daryl Hannah would actually keep it on during lunch breaks and breaks from filming. So in terms of the cast, we have Tom Hanks, who plays Alan Buer, Daryl Hannah, who plays Madison, Eugene Levy, who plays Dr. Walter Kornbluth, John Candy, who plays Freddie Buer, Dottie Goodman, who plays Mrs. Steinler, Shecky Green, who plays Mr. Byright, and Richard B. Shull, who plays Dr. Ross. So let's take a look at the plot. So Alan Buer is rescued as a young boy off of the shore of Cape Cod by a young mermaid. Years later, he returns to the same location and once again manages to fall into the sea, and is rescued once more by the same mermaid. Using maps from a sunken ship, the mermaid decides to search for Alan in New York City, sprouting legs when her tail dries. Once finding Alan, they fall in love, but she has a secret, which no longer will be a secret if she gets wet. So let's take a look at the legacy of the film. So the film was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay, and the score was composed by Lee Holdridge, with the soundtrack being released only in the United Kingdom in 1984. The US release of the soundtrack would have to wait until the year 2000, with a 26-track CD being released. This movie has been actually credited with making the name Madison popular for girls. According to Stephen Levitt and Stephen Dunner's book, Freakonomics, the name Madison was the 216th most popular name for girls in 1990. But prior to 1990, it was 216th. By 1990, the name was ranked by 29th most popular girl, and in 1995, it was ranked number 3. So a lot of girls a lot of moms saw Splash and then decided to name their girls Madison. In 2016, producer Brian Grazer announced that they were working on a reboot of Splash, And this would switch the narrative to the mermaid point of view instead of the man living in New York. Gillian Bell and Channing Tatum were set to star in the movie, and the latest, according to February of 2023, is the script was being rewritten. So would I recommend this movie? I think this movie is good, not great. It does get a lot of like lore behind it, possibly just because it was the start of Tom Hanks' career. Same with Daryl Hannah, looking very stunning in it. But in terms of the narrative of the story, it's okay. It's not great. The movie loses a lot of steam after the Eugene Levy kind of goes on the search to prove that Daryl Hannah is a mermaid. To me, the movie gets a little bit boring. But overall, it's like Tom Hanks does a really good job. Daryl Hannah does a really good job. It's one recommend seeing, especially if you're a big Tom Hanks fan, because this is when he was kind of more of that comedic actor than he was the dramatic actor. So it's interesting to see kind of the shift, what he would become. But yeah, just overall, definitely one recommended. It's great for the whole family. There's nothing really too scandalous in it, other than there's some shots of Daryl Hannah looking quite she's not nude, but she's almost nude. So just if you're sensitive about that type of thing, just beware that there's a couple shots. But overall, definitely recommend a good film. It's worth checking out. So thank you so much for joining us here on another episode of Disney Movie Investigation. I would love for anyone to please comment below on what they think of Splash. And as we look forward to our next episode, we are going to be taking a look at another X-Men movie when we take a look at X-Men Apocalypse. So until next time, I hope you have a magical day, and we will see you real soon.